On April the 2nd, 2011, 3-year-old Jayson Dansby arrived at Go Bananas, an indoor family entertainment centre in Norridge, Illinois, for what was meant to be a fun day out with his family. Among the many rides and arcade games that day was the star attraction known as the Python Pit, a small indoor roller coaster designed for children. Jayson and his twin brother boarded the ride, unaware that this moment would end in tragedy. What followed was a horrific and brutal event that left witnesses traumatized. It also shook the community, raising serious questions about amusement ride safety in the state of Illinois as a whole. So what exactly happened that day? Let's talk about it. This is the infamous death of Jayson Dansby. Go Bananas was an indoor family entertainment centre located on North Harlem Avenue in Norridge, Illinois. The centre first opened its doors in 1997 under the original name Jeepers and operated under this branding until 2005, when it was rebranded as Go Bananas. It was a small indoor Chuck E. Cheese style establishment, often holding children's birthday parties. On April the 2nd of 2011, Jayson Dansby and his family were there for a fun day out. Jayson, who was never seen without his twin brother, was known as being a happy and kind boy and was excited to spend the day at the centre. This is because throughout its years of operation, Go Bananas offered a variety of attractions designed to cater for children, including arcades, bumper cars, and a train ride. However, their star attraction for children was its indoor roller coaster, the Python Pit. The Python Pit was one of the most popular attractions for young children at Go Bananas. Manufactured by E&F Miller Industries, it was a steel sit-down coaster featuring an 11.5 single helix layout that operated in a counterclockwise direction. The ride was designed to be accessible for very young children with a maximum speed of around 15.7 miles per hour and without any inversions or extreme drops. Regarding the height requirements for the Python Pit at Go Bananas, there was indeed a restriction in place. The ride was intended for younger children but required that they meet a minimum height to ensure safety. While specific height restrictions could vary from one location to another, it was common for the ride to have a minimum height requirement of 42 inches, and those below this height would have to ride with an adult. At the time, Jayson Dansby was 40 inches tall, and he was let onto the ride. However, I found that other owners of this type of ride in other locations like Michigan and Virginia, operators increased the height requirements after believing the ride wasn't safe for very small children. The ride was equipped with a lap bar restraint, a standard safety feature in roller coasters of this nature, but that was it. Again, it was found that a ride operator in Kansas took additional precautions by installing seatbelts onto the ride after not thinking the lap bar was enough. Nonetheless, in the guidelines, the manufacturer specified a minimum of 36 inches, and the ride had passed safety inspections, so business remained as per usual. This was until April the 2nd of 2011, when a horrific incident would shock the community of Norridge to the core. After being at the play centre for a few hours, Jayson and his twin brother boarded the Python Pit roller coaster at around 5 PM, sitting next to each other. Jayson's mother asked if she needed to accompany the two boys as the ride went round, but she was told by a Go Bananas worker that she did not have to, so she proceeded to watch from the side with her husband. Jayson was by all means excited according to reports, and the ride operator checked his restraints, and the ride set off. However, as the boys went around the track, something went terribly wrong. As the ride commenced, Jayson became visibly distressed, crying out for his mother and signalling to stop the ride. Despite his agitation, the coaster continued its course. During the second lap, Jayson managed to free himself from the safety harness and stood up in his car, facing passengers in the car behind him. Witnesses, the Shahadi family seated directly behind Jayson, saw him in distress and immediately began shouting for ride operators to halt the coaster. Witnesses believed it was going too fast, and the young teenager who was operating the ride was now trying to stop it, but was unable to do so, and the Python Pit proceeded into its third lap. In a desperate attempt to assist, members of the family leaned forward trying to calm Jayson and encourage him to sit back down. Tragically, during this lap, Jayson lost his balance and fell between the first and second cars of the moving coaster. At this point, the room was in full panic mode. The ride operator was still trying to stop the ride, but it wasn't working, and it continued into its fourth lap. It was during this lap that passengers felt the roller coaster pass over Jayson's body. Shockingly, the ride persisted for a fifth and final lap, during which the cars made contact with Jayson again before he fell 4 feet to the ground and the Python pit came to a stop. This all happened right in front of Jayson's distraught parents, who were unable to do anything. Emergency responders were called to the scene, but Jayson was pronounced dead from his injuries. Go Bananas was immediately closed down, and an investigation was launched. Following the incident, Norridge Chief of Police James Jobe released a statement saying, "Details are still being worked out, but it looks like the boy was in the front car with his brother and he managed to get free from the safety bar." He went on to say, "He stood up but fell backwards and landed in the joint between the first car and the second car. Then he fell to the floor with serious head injuries. He was declared dead at the scene." According to the medical examiner's office, the coroner's report stated that Jayson had died from multiple injuries after being struck by the roller coaster. This included severe head injuries from the impact. Teams then investigated the ride itself, but found nothing out of the ordinary. The restraints worked properly, and it passed all inspections. The height requirements were met, and it was chalked up as an accidental death, but this didn't sit right with some, and many blame the state of Illinois itself for Jayson's death. This is because the state of Illinois lacked regulations to ensure amusement rides were designed to keep small children secure. Unlike other states, it did not require engineers to review ride designs or enforce stricter height and restraint requirements, instead leaving those decisions to the manufacturers. This lack of oversight may have contributed to Jayson's ability to escape the restraint, leading to his tragic death. As stated before, some operators of the Python pit had already raised concerns about its safety, and they spoke out during the investigation. In Michigan, Rosa Yazigi increased the minimum height requirement for children riding alone from 42 inches to 48. A Virginia entertainment center set its height limit at 46, whilst a Kansas location added seatbelts as an extra precaution. These changes were voluntary, and Illinois took no such measures. The state had consistently approved the Python pit during annual inspections, which focused only on whether a rider met manufacturer's specifications, not on evaluating the safety of its design. After Jayson's death, Illinois investigators found no mechanical issues with the ride. However, Go Bananas owner Gerald Marks was charged with failing to provide maintenance records, a misdemeanor under the state ride safety laws. He was fined and placed under court supervision. It was also argued by some ride inspectors that children that size couldn't be expected to secure themselves, and although they tried to get in contact with the manufacturer of the roller coaster, and attempts to contact them were unsuccessful. As stated in the Chicago Tribune, after the Norridge accident, Go Bananas paid a $3.1 million settlement in a civil suit brought by Jayson's family, according to court records. Another witness to the accident, Marion Grant, filed a lawsuit claiming emotional distress after trying to help Jayson after he was struck by the roller coaster. And although no details were released on her case, I did find this on Reddit which may explain it. This has to be taken with a grain of salt and is quite graphic. It reads, "I had an ex-girlfriend of mine explain an incident which occurred at a facility similar to Chuck E. Cheese. This happened in or around Chicago, Illinois. Apparently, this place had a kiddie roller coaster, like the small ones you see at state fairs. Apparently some young kid, pre-teen age, got out of his restraints in the front car and fell out forward onto the tracks. The coaster proceeded to roll right over him, cutting him in half and splattering his blood and guts all over everyone in the splash zone of the ride. This is where Marion was. She heard about this from one of her friends who apparently worked there when this happened and witnessed the whole thing. According to her, his retelling of the incident was done with a blank zombie-like 1,000-yard stare." Throughout all of this, business owner Gerald Marks denied any wrongdoing. The state cited Go Bananas for poor record keeping, but faulted no one in Jayson's death, besides Jayson himself. Kirshner, a personal injury attorney, claimed the state had failed him. He said, "This kid should not have died, and that scares the hell out of me because nothing has changed. The only thing here is we are saying, well, that kid shouldn't have stood up. What happens when the next kid stands up?" After the lawsuit was settled, Go Bananas reopened the Python pit and no safety changes were ever made. Jayson was remembered fondly by his family. His great uncle would say he was a fun child and had more spirit and joy than anyone in the world. Go Bananas would reopen, but after a series of incidents and a staggering 30 call-outs to the police between 2015 and 2016, Go Bananas would eventually close down in 2020. May Jayson rest in peace. As always, this is not an AI channel, I do everything myself, and if you appreciate my work, subscribe, and if you want to go the extra step to support the channel, maybe consider becoming a member. I can't help feel that all the details to this case were never released. I guess we'll never know. Let me know what you think about this case in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.